Yes, good morning everyone. I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ritu?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So once again, very good morning everyone. I'm welcome you all for this alumni interaction. It's my immense pleasure to introduce our today's resource person for alumni interaction is Miss Ereka-2020. She is our alumni from the third batch, 16-17 batch. Okay, and today's topic for the alumni interaction is nothing but staying motivated in difficult times. Okay, so as per our guidelines for the alumni interaction is that the whole session is there for the 1 hour from 10:15 to 11:15, and whatever what are your questions or what are your queries or what are your you just want to ask Ireka, you can ask after the session, or if you have any doubts or if you have any queries during the session, you can write down questions on your chat box. Okay, just now I'm handovering this session to Ritu. She will introduce Ereka in a wider manner. Ritu, please take the charge of the session.
Okay, ma'am. Um, Good morning, everyone. I warmly welcome Erika D here, and also for everyone to know, she was our first secretary of ISITS. So yeah, we welcome our dear senior here. So if we talk about her, she has really a wide range of accomplishments, as well as her internships are in very well-known firms. So she had an HR. She did internship in HR intern Flair Tales in 2017, and she has also done internship in Johnson and Johnson in 2020. Then she has worked for 17 months in Infosys Limited as a system engineer. That was from 2017 to 2019. And we would be really proud to know about her academic achievements as well. Like she was one of the top three rankers in her on all four consecutive years of engineering, and she was also state merit holder in her 10th standard examination. She had backed PPSI Cisco from Cisco by winning first prize in HR Blizzard case competition among all first years. Then she was also selected as the campus finalist from over 219 participants in Udyan National Case Competition Takeoff. Now, if we move on to her extracurricular activities, she was chosen as IIMA campus strategizer from amongst 1,039 participants, and after 2 rounds of competition of TRBS. Then she bagged the first runner-up position out of 150 plus students in the PR stimulation event organized by Xlinks. And as I told you earlier, she was our first secretary at of ISETS at I Square IT. She also received a lot of appreciation letters, and also was selected for NASCOM Global Youth Employability Training from the batch of more than 180 students. If we move to her other part, she's also seen as a writer or a social worker and also a sportsman. So as a writer, she has emerged as a trending author with a reader count of over 5,200 plus, which is really great. If I am to be like, I should speak about it. Like, yeah, getting that huge of a viewer count is indeed something. Then she is a social worker, and she has coached over 30 plus disabled students, and she has taught them computer skills and developed their English so that they could get higher opportunity for employability. Then she has also arranged donation drive for rural school by collecting 50 computers, books, and toys for the children. In sports, she achieved first position in Kabaddi women held under intra-college annual sports gathering of I Square IT. So, like from the above mentioned, you would also could conclude the responsibilities that she bore, which were quite many. She was a senior executive member of Sapphire as XLRI, and has also been a secretary as ISETS, and she was also in the CMC committee, and she was a PR at Dhruva Fest. And on top of that, right now, she is pursuing human resource management at XLRI Jamshedpur. So this is quite something and really something to be proud of as juniors. So I hand this session over to you, Dee, and I really hope to learn a lot uh, and know more about how to stay motivated during difficult times. Over to you, Dee.
Thank you so much, Ritu. This was really a great introduction. I mean, hearing it all from you made me proud myself. Thank you, Sujata ma'am. Thanks, Rissel sir. Thanks to all the faculty who invited me here. It's a great opportunity. I think in these virtual times, it became easier to connect with all of you. This might have probably not been possible in the earlier days. And I think this is one thing that came, like one good thing that came out of COVID, right? We can all be connected even though we are so apart. So, yeah, my session is about staying motivated in difficult times. Well, if you ask me what makes me the right person to talk about this, I would say even I am trying to figure that out, but then probably because I passed out maybe 4 years before you, and that is why maybe I've seen a little bit more about I would say the world out there. Genuinely, after I Square IT, I think I learned a lot, and maybe I can give a few words of wisdom to all of you, to all my lovely juniors. Lata ma'am, can you let me share my screen? I
Yes,
have a
yes,
little
sure.
presentation.
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, so I hope that since we are all engineers, we would be recognizing this person. Can someone quickly unmute and tell me who he is?
Steve Jobs.
Great. So this is Steve Jobs, and this is one of his most famous dialogues. It says, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do." So is it the only correct way? Like, if you love your work, is that the only way you can do great work? So if you do not love something, can you not do it? And well, I would say my answer would be not always. You can actually do something you don't love that much and still excel at it. So your work should not always be your hobby. Your hobbies can be different, your work can be different. And staying motivated and doing both these things is what I'll probably be taking you all through today. So I'll quickly chalk out my agenda. So I will be discussing the approaches to motivation, and then I'll give you a few simple tips and tricks for staying motivated. And then since we all love technology so much these days, I would also be mentioning a few cool apps that you can try out in these COVID times. So I'll start with the two approaches of motivation that I think work the best. So the first one being positive motivation and the second one being negative motivation. But before I explain to you what these are, I would love for you to go on to this page. You can use your mobile phones. You can go to www.menti.com. And when you go to that page, you will get a little dialog box where you can put in this code. So can you all do that for me? You can just go to this page.
Can you please pass on the code?
The code is 813892. I'll just put it on the chat box if you want. Really sorry, folks. I clicked the leave button by mistake. Oops. I'll just put the code here. Okay, I think all of you are already able to do it. So we have 3 people answering it yet. Let's wait for 2 more minutes so that the others can also answer. But already I think that the trends are very visible. People say that they feel that money, success, and passion makes them happy.
Erika, can you repeat the code?
It's 813892. I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, Tina, we can.
Okay. So I can see a lot of words here, but I would say that success is probably going to be the most common one. There are others who say that cricket, fun, food, painting, love, passion. There are a lot of words here, but maybe success, satisfaction, money, these are some of the most common words that you would find. Even if you go and do this exercise anywhere else, maybe success would be the first one that would come up. And I think success itself is probably the most motivating factor that anyone can have. And that is the reason why I wanted to do this exercise. So, if you're all done, then maybe I can stop this one for now. Cool. So yeah, so you all saw that the things that came up, success, passion, satisfaction, these were some of the things that came up when I asked you what makes you happy. And that is exactly what positive motivation is. So positive motivation says that when you want to stay motivated, when you want to do great work, you imagine what would be your final goals be. So for you, that is success. For someone else, that might be money. So if you have the clear goal in mind, it's easier for you to stay motivated. And really, that is probably the thing that has worked the most for me as well. And I used to dream about what I want to achieve, and just that picture in my head was what kept me going. So this is one approach in motivation, but there is one more that I wish to share, and that is negative motivation. So again, I would want you all to So I would want you all to go to menti.com again, maybe refresh the screen, and then when you put in the same code, you will probably get this question now. Use the same link and just put in the code. Job, grades, and skills. Okay. Okay, job has probably taken over as the most important, the most worrisome thing for all my lovely juniors present here. And skills and failures and grades. Okay, assignments. Marks, rejection, placements. A lot of these are related to placements. I think Adesh sir is also there on the call, right? Well, so job it is. I think most of you are worried about your job, and then what can you do about it? Maybe you can use this session and you can use your classes and everything that I Square IT does for you to be a little less scared of the job scenario out there. So I'll just stop this one and I'll get back to the presentation. So negative motivation. So just like positive motivation, this is also an end goal, but this is the one where you feel that you are not successful in what you were doing. So negative motivation works like this. You imagine that this is the worst scenario that can happen. And why do you want to not go to that scenario? What should you do to not get into that scenario? That exactly is negative motivation. So if you are scared about jobs, then the motivating factor for you can be that you need to get a job, and that is why you can work hard to get a job. What can you do? You can probably attend the sessions that I Square IT does. You can look up things on the internet. You can get an internship. I don't know. Even I am a student, and yes, the job factor definitely is a motivating factor for me. But this is something you can solve, right? Even the grades, even the assignments, you can just go and do it. There is nothing else that other than going and doing something that will take that factor as a good factor for you and get you motivated. So these were the two main approaches to motivation, positive and negative. And I hope that all of you can figure out what your motivating factors are going forward, so that the fears that you have and the things that you want to achieve, you can get to those. With can give you a few tips and tricks as your senior that might help you stay motivated. So I would say that personally, I was also very low on motivation once I got a job at Infosys. So it seemed pretty easy to me that now I have a job, I can probably be settled. But the motivating factor for me was that I wanted to do something more. And I wanted to do something beyond just a systems engineer job. So some of you might love it, but I just wanted to do something more. And these were some of the tricks that helped me stay motivated. So the first one was set targets and reward yourself. So this again is one of the easiest ways you can actually track. You can keep a track of what all you want to do. And it is very satisfying to have a list of things that you are ticking off every time you get something done. So this can be as simple as go and finish that assignment, or go and read that chapter. This can also be a target. And then you can reward yourself. You can reward yourself with what you like. You can go and watch an episode of a series once you finish that chapter. So it actually helps you reward yourself, which is one of the most important ways to stay happy, I would say. And that is the principle of positive motivation, that you do something and you get a reward for it. So this is the easiest trick, I would say. The second one is social motivation, and I think in these COVID times, this is the most important one. And since we are all locked up in our houses and we are not able to meet our friends, it becomes a little difficult to stay connected, and it becomes a little depressing to be alone. So I remember my engineering days, and I think the best memories that I have would be of attending classes with my friends, sitting and hanging out in the cafeteria, going to the library together to study, working for placements together. So the social factor was something that helped me a lot. And maybe you might feel that you're missing out a little bit on that, but there are tools, right? There are technologies, and you can probably go and use that and stay in touch. So when you work together, the task seems a little easier because all of you are working towards the same thing. It might feel like you are distributing your efforts, and it becomes just a little easier. So please stay connected, and especially in these times. Give yourself a break. Well, I think a lot of us, including me, do that all the time. And that genuinely is a good way to keep yourself motivated. So don't stress yourself out. It's going to be fine. You will get that job. You will get that placement. You will ace the assignments. So that's fine. Give yourself a break every now and then. And watch that movie that you want. Maybe spend some time with your family. Give yourself a break every now and then, and it re-energizes you. Enjoy the outside world. Now, I don't mean that you should go outside in this situation. I genuinely do not mean that. So please do not come to me later on. But what I mean is that because you are inside your houses, a lot of time it feels a little depressing. So maybe enjoy the view outside, open a window, get some clear light, and it really refreshes your mind. I don't know. Call up your friends who are outside your house. You can talk to them and you can understand what is happening outside, so that you don't feel like your only world is the world inside your house. So enjoy the outside world. Negative reinforcement. So if nothing works, this is something that can definitely work. It has worked for me. So what does negative reinforcement mean? It means simply that if you are not able to do something, you tell yourself that if I don't do it, if I don't do this, I won't eat this or I won't enjoy this. So for instance, when I was preparing for CAT, along with my Infosys job, I told myself that until I ace this CAT exam, I won't eat pizza. Now it's very stupid, but it actually works. It might work for you, and it need not be food all the time. It can be anything that you love. Maybe you can say that I won't play this game until I get what I wanted. You will not watch this thing until you get what you wanted. So negative reinforcement works, and it is a little punishment that you give yourself until you're able to do something. So this is probably the last resort that you can go to. Now that I have given you some simple tips, I can also give you a few a few apps that can be really helpful when you are trying to stay motivated, when you are trying to stay productive at home. So the first app would be any.do. This is a very famous app, I would say, and it has a lot of downloads on both App Store and on Apple Tunes. So you can go and check this out. What this does is it gives you a ready-made checklist. You can go and put in your the task that you want to do, and it also keeps on reminding you. So even if you forget, you will have that app giving a notification, and that might cause a little bit of guilt in yourself. And that worked for me. Generally, that worked for me. And you cannot delete the task that you made once, so it always haunts you. The tasks in your list can haunt you. So this works very well. The second one is Forest. Now, this is a very beautiful app, and since you're all engineers, you might probably want to check this out. It's made beautifully. So how the Forest works is you plant a tree in the app. It's a virtual tree. It's a plant. And when you want to do something, you plant that tree, and then you keep your phone aside. So if you want to study, suppose you want to finish a chapter from one of your subjects. So you plant a tree, you keep it aside, and you say that you're going to study for 2 hours. So for 2 hours, if you open your phone in between that, the tree will fall, the tree will die off. So it literally means that you cannot touch your phone for 2 hours. So this works especially well if you want to study or if you want to work on something to develop yourself. So, and I think that even though I cannot be separated from my smartphone most of the times, but this one really works if you have something important that you want to do. And it's very beautiful again. And the third one is the Power Nap app. Now, what the Power Nap does is that it gives you power breaks in between your schedule. So if you install this app, it'll give you 28 minutes of power naps throughout the day if you are doing something, and it will only give 28 minutes. And in that time you can take a power nap, and it will only start counting once you have actually fallen asleep. So this is a great way to take a break, and it will remind you to get up after 28 minutes and ask you to get back to your job. So this is one app which has worked for me, and we all know that a little break is very important. So well, I would like to conclude by saying that motivation is not a one size fits all sentiment. So it works differently for different people. I have mentioned what worked for me. The apps that I mentioned, the tips that I mentioned, these worked for me. But you all know yourself. You personally have your own way of getting motivated. And I would say it's only a matter of time until you find what you want to do and how you can stay motivated for that. Now, be it something you love or be it something you hate, you have to stay motivated when there are tasks that come your way. Maybe you love a subject and you don't like another one. So that does not mean that you only pay attention to the subject that you love. You also need to give a little bit of time to the subject that you don't. So that is how you can stay motivated. And yeah, this was it. Thank you. And I would love to take any questions regarding this PPT or regarding anything else that you want to ask from a senior.
Yes, students, any question?
No, ma'am.
Yes, Dee. Actually, uh, this all motivation is fine, but what do we do when we actually don't know anything about our future or career? When we don't know what we want to do or what we will be doing, but you just keep regretting whatever you're doing right now.
Okay. So when you are regretting something, so I am assuming that it is something related to your engineering or some anything else. So if you feel that this is something that needs to be completed, so I'll take my example. So even though I liked my engineering, I always wanted to do something different. And I did feel that maybe this is not the correct path for me. That is why I probably left my job as well. So see, this complete whatever you have, it actually just shows your effort, and even in your future that will help someday. So even though I did not love my job at Infosys, I did not like coding. Infosys is a great company. Please don't say this to anyone. But if you actually don't like something, you can use that in your future. Everything is going to count. Every single mark is also going to count. So I can say that from my experience. And if you really don't like something, I would say take it as a task that you just need to complete, and then you can move on with something else. And your other question, that you are not sure where this is headed to, like you are not sure about your future. Well, things do look a little tricky right now, but I am sure that all of you will get great jobs. I2IT has lovely companies coming to campus, and you will all love your jobs. You will all get great jobs, and you will all do something in the future. So I had people in my batch who were a little late to get placed. There were some people who had difficulties in their grades. Yes, it does. It does matter for a few years, but later down the line, all that matters is your sheer hard work. And even though your marks count, your hard work is what makes it even more important. So when you get into this habit of working hard, even in the future, you will do the same. So if you give up on your engineering or anything or whatever thing that you were talking about, Malay, so just do it. Don't give it up because that will haunt you in the future. So just, I would say, take some effort and try to stay motivated even if you don't like something.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, any other question? Students, please go ahead and ask the question if you have any.
They I would like to ask, like like they conduct the interviews and all, right? So many people say that marks do count, and others say it doesn't because it's how you present yourself in interviews. So what's the exact fact? Like, how did you face the interview?
So I remember my interview for Infosys, and since I am an electronics engineer, just like all of you, I was a little scared because I was not that great with coding. And in my interview, I was asked direct questions on coding. So I definitely think that it was presentation skills that made it across, since I was probably not as great as a lot of the other computer science and IT students out there. But along with that, you also need to have a little bit of grasp on the concepts and theory that is being taught to you. At least in the few initial months, I would say. Even when I joined my company, the marks probably did not matter, but the concepts did. So even if you did not top one subject, it's fine as long as you remember a little bit of the concepts. And the marks, I would say, every little bit matters if you're going for anything like a further studies. So I did face this. I needed my marks to be good so that I could get admission into a B school. I'm not sure about many other branches, but I can say this about a B school. And there are some companies also which do have cutoffs for marks. So it's always safe to get good marks. But even if you don't, that's fine. If you can brush up on the concepts, then you can at least be presentable in the interviews and you can be confident about it. So even if someone asks you that why do you have less marks in this, if you can give something counteracting that, like a internship in the same field, if you say that even though I did not have great marks, I did an internship in this and I was good in that. So that is a way where you can show your, I would say, hard work, even though you do not have the best of the marks. So it's fine even if you are not the topper in some subject or if you are not getting great marks, if you can get the concepts, then that's fine.
Okay, the
I see that Simran has a question. What is the best way for one to know him or herself? Best way for one to know him or herself? Well, that is a very philosophical question, Simran. And I would say the best way for one to know him or herself would be to really understand your passions. So again, my example would be after engineering, after getting into an IT company, I realized that probably IT was not my calling. So this took me a few years. It began with when I joined the CMC committee at I Square IT, and I felt that since I'm doing HRM, that is why. So I felt that I want to get into something similar. And then I went to my work at Infosys. I saw a lot of HRs there and I genuinely felt interested. So I went and did an internship again in human resources to understand if this is really something I would want to pursue before jumping into it. And I really loved the internship. So that is when I finally knew that this is what I want to do for myself. And that is when I started preparing for CAT exams and I got into XLRI. So again, this is purely personal for you to know what you want and what to know yourself. I would say you have to observe what you are enjoying. So if you are enjoying doing if you are enjoying studying some subject, maybe you can take up an internship in that, or maybe you can go to some websites and learn more about it. And you can see if that is what you like. I'm assuming that this is purely professional, like a professional way to know oneself. And again, a quick and simple way to get internships is through Internshala. I'm not sure how many of you use it, but Internshala is a great platform to get some great internships, and there are a lot of work from home internships available there. So maybe you can go and try one out yourself.
Yes, any other question? Yes, students?
No, ma'am.
No, no, ma'am.
Thank you, Dee, very much.
Thanks, Abhishek. It was lovely interacting with all of you. I know it is a little morning, 10:15 is a little morning to attend a session by your alumni. But then probably you'll get used to it once you start working. 10:15 is nothing. You will wake up even earlier.
Okay, Rick,
And
can you please tell our students how you prepare for your CAT and what kind of preparation you have started and have you come up across all the things for the CAT examination?
Okay. So I began for my CAT preparation in the year 2018, and 2018 I would say I gave the CAT exam. Like before giving the CAT exam, I started like around at least 6 months before, and generally I was very scared of the quantitative section, which is the mathematics. And so that was something I purely focused on. So you have to find what your weak points are and maybe work a little bit more on that. For me it was quantitative section, and most engineers do find it a little easy, but I did not. So for me, the good sections were the verbal ability and the logical reasoning ones. So I really did not focus a lot there, but on the quantitative I did. And since I was also working, so it became a little difficult for me to join any coaching institute or anything where I had to physically be present. So I joined this virtual mock exam session by a company called Crack You. I'm not sure how many of you know about it, but it's a great place where you can go and attempt some mock exams for CAT. And apart from that, I used a few books. I used I would say the most important ones would be the three books that are available on Amazon. I can put the link to that later. I can send that to Sujata ma'am if you're really interested. And the author was called Nishit Sinha, if I'm not wrong, and his books were great. So you can actually pick up any book, that's fine, but what is important is to keep practicing. So if you leave a gap in between, what happens is the training that you had given to your brain in the past few days, that is somewhat cut off in the middle. So just keep practicing every day, even if you do like 3 sums or one paragraph of verbal ability in one day, that's fine, but just keep practicing. And once the CAT exams in year, I had completely stopped studying new concepts and I was just giving mock exams. And LIDR section. Okay, Abhinav has a question about LIDR section. So, like I said, LIDR was something I was not very scared of. I was okay with that section. But for LIDR, I would say the most important thing is again practice. So there are a lot of different types of questions in LIDR, right? So you can pick up one type each day and you can practice that, and maybe on a weekly basis you can go and give off a quiz for all the sections. That way you can keep a track. In LIDR, a lot of things depend on how you read the question. So if you miss out on any of the points that are given, it can actually cause a havoc on your entire solution. So read the question maybe 2 or 3 times. I know there is a difficulty in that because there's very less time given to you in the exam, but just scan it real quick to see if you're not missing out on any of the points, and do everything on paper. You cannot imagine any of the scenario and give a solution. You have to do it on paper. And if you have any doubts about LIDR, there are a lot of free resources on YouTube where you can just go and search for the particular topic, and they will show good ways for you to solve any question. So I will tell my personal experience. The only thing I had spent on CAT preparation was 500 rupees of mock exams on CrackU and the 3 books that I had bought. That was it. So you do not need to spend a huge amount of money on, say, any coaching institute if you feel confident that you will be motivated. So again, what coaching institutes do is that they will keep on like they will keep on pestering you. I would say that go and study, go and do this. But if you can have that self motivation, you don't need any coaching institutes. Free resources would do, and LID are also same. And once you get the CAT exam, you get a good score. So I had a 98.43 in CAT and a 99.97 in ZAT. So once you have those scores, the work is not done yet. You also have an interview to crack. So I gave interviews for different colleges, and for the interviews, very important, they might ask you things that you did in engineering. So yeah, the concepts help. Some of the professors might have a degree in engineering, like they might have a degree in engineering. Suddenly someone might ask you about something digital communication or analog communication, you never know. So it's important to know a little bit of concepts, and the interviews can also be done. And keep on practicing your interview skills also. I would say that not only helps in your final placements, but also once you join your job, there will be interviews for your promotion, or interviews for you to get into some other company of your choice. So keep on practicing that. Maybe in front of a mirror if you are scared of doing it for in front of someone else. And there are a lot of free resources on YouTube again.
Yes, any more
And if you
questions?
have, yes, ma'am. One second. If you have any doubts about CAT exam, you can ping me on LinkedIn. A lot of my juniors and super juniors have, but since I have not interacted a lot with your batch, I don't think any one of you has. But if any one of you has any doubts, you can ping me on LinkedIn, and I'll help you out. I'll be really happy to help anyone out from iSquared. Why
Yes,
XLRI is the best for HR in India? Okay, is this like a PR for my college? Okay, I'll do that. XLRI is the oldest B school in India. It was established in 1949, so that might be one of the reasons why it's the best for HR. And in those days, HR was genuinely something different, and now what you see, HR is completely different. In those days, it was more about how to handle factory workers, I would say, and now it is more about how to handle employees who are smarter than you. So when you come and join a company, and probably I'll be the HR there, my task will be to make sure that all of you are in line with the organization goals. So what you do helps the organization. That is what HR is all about. And XLRI teaches us the best in that, I believe. If you are interested in XLRI, Anandu, I would say start preparing for the ZAT exams. And yes, so XLRI, you can join XLRI with a good ZAT score and a good interview.
yes, Rika, can you please elaborate to our students how they can prepare for the placement from second year, from third year, which subject or which topic or which area they need to focus more, and what they need to be prepared for the in terms of with respect to the placement?
Okay. So I would say the first job would be building a good CV. So since companies shortlist your CV, the first job would be to build a very good CV. And when Ritu was talking about points from my CV, I know a lot of that might have sounded intimidating, but it's not that great. You can also get really good CV points by doing a good internship, or maybe I would say doing some extracurriculars that you can add on to your CV. So a good CV, a very balanced CV, not just academics. So just being the topper of the college won't guarantee you a good company, but being an all-rounder in everything like extracurriculars and co-curriculars and all those things will matter on your CV. So once your CV is set, you can go for the interviews. So for interviews, I would say mock interviews are really helpful. You can check, so there are some of these pages where you can get interview questions of all the companies that come on campus in, like I would say the common companies like Infosys, TCS. The questionnaires for these are available on the internet. So HR questions and technical questions will be available there. you can go and create your own answers to that question. So for instance, if some question from the HR is like, which is one of the biggest failures in your life. So you don't want to say something that is really a big failure, because that might put the HR off. So come up with solutions, come up with answers to possible questions that you can give in the interview. And then have mock interviews. You can ask your friends to take your interview, and you can do the same for them. So an interview is good. I'm not sure if any of the companies that come on your campus have group discussions. If that is the case, you can also practice as friends to discuss in a group. And yeah, for placements, keep your concepts clear. If you're having an interview in an IT company, you probably want to know a little bit of object-oriented programming and a little bit of coding also, if they are, and a little bit of algorithms. So that is good for IT companies. For electronics and communication-based companies, I would say have a little bit of good knowledge in the digital communication, analog communication sort of subjects, maybe even VLSI. So have the concepts clear, because they are really testing how you can face pressure when they ask you a question in the interview. So if you fail to answer a question, that's fine, but you need to stay confident and you need to probably give a backup. Like, I did not answer that, but I would love to answer this. So you just need to show your interest, and companies would hire you. And if you have bad academic scores, that's fine. Again, you will get placed. A lot of my friends had issues when it came to placements, but now all of them are in good companies. Trust me, all of them are in good companies. So it's just a matter of time before you also get into a good company. But it's hard work, sheer hard work that will take you anywhere.
I would also like to add this, like when I went through the CV, it was short and summarized. Like I really like that way of writing, means you covered up all the point pretty well and in a summarized way. So like, is that how a CV, like that's what we want? Any other points that you would like to add while we are writing a CV?
Okay, so the CV that I had sent to ma'am, and maybe you saw that, Ritu. So that is a format that is used by my college, XLRI. So I'm not sure if I Square IT has any format yet. If you don't have, maybe you can come up with your own format. So the formats that I generally used in a CV are to use tables. Instead of writing a paragraph, it is great if you can use a table and you can mention your points in the rows. That makes it very crisp. You don't want to write paragraphs about anything. And use words, you do not use repetitive words like worked in this, worked in this, worked in this. Now that is something very off-putting for the HR, I would say. When they see that every sentence starts with a worked in this or studied this, it does not make a lot of sense. So you can use different words. They are called power words. So instead of worked with this, you can say collaborated in this. You can say spearheaded this effort, or you can say led this effort. So it gives different, I would say, adjectives to the same thing, but it also shows that you have given different amounts of collaboration in each of these events. So don't just use the same words again and again, and make it very crisp. Since Ritu also has seen that, I think a maximum of 10, 15 words in one sentence. Don't go above that. And mention your academic achievements if you have any at the top. If you are not that great in academics, but you have done some great internships, or if you have some great positions of responsibility, you can take that I would say, to the top part, and you can bring your academics to the bottom. That's fine. Also mention any of the extracurriculars that you have. And in your CV, just make sure that you are showing the recruiter the best version of yourself. Even if some of the things you have done might not be great to you, maybe it is great to the recruiter because of the way you frame it. So you can check on, you can Google for some of the best CVs for the role that you are going for. So for instance, if you're going for a systems engineer role in TCS, so you can see systems engineer TCS resumes, and you might find some good CVs there on the internet, and you can see how they are framed. So depending on the role, you need to customize your CVs. If you're going for a very electronics based company, there would be no point in writing a lot about IT, right? And if you're going for an IT company, don't write a lot of digital communication or analog communication or any of VLSI or any such internships. You can put in something of IT. So you just need to show what they want and they'll choose you. What inspired you to deviate from tech background to a management field? Like I said, I think this began with when I was in I Square IT itself. I loved the work that I did in ISETs. I loved the work that I did in the Dhruva Festival. I also loved the CMC work because I was connecting more myself to a management field because of all these. And my interest in HR also came from the CMC and also my internship. What inspired me? Well, when I went to work, when I went to Infosys, I saw that the engineers there love their work. They love coding, they love systems, they love computers, and I probably was not one of them. I wanted to do something around people and managing people, and that was why I went into a management field. um, a lot of friends from my batch loved coding and they loved technology, so they went for an MTech. But I did not, and I loved being around people and being a part of. I would say the development of people and being a part of the development of employees was what I really wanted, and so HR specifically in management. Which is the best option for doing GMAT? Is it required you have a 1 or 2 years experience? I have not given GMAT, but for any of the, I would say, management based exams, I would say it is always great to have a few years of experience. That not only helps you in your placements in a B school, but it also helps because you will relate more to the concepts. So if you go for further studies without any experience, without any job experience, it would again be just like a college to you. Just like in I Square IT, you were learning concepts. Again, in a B school, you'll be learning concepts, but you did not get to apply any of it, or you cannot relate to many of the concepts. So it is great to have 1 to 2 years of experience. I would say don't go about 3 years because then somehow you like to be in the job and you like to stay stagnant. I would say 1 to 2 years is the ideal because you will still have a little bit of I would say motivation left to study, because once you get into a job, it becomes difficult to study. So have 1 to 2 years of experience and you will probably relate to it more.
Yes, any more questions?
Uh, the like how was it to actually, start your job at Infosys? Like you mentioned earlier, it's going to be really tough saying that your morning should start early, and how's the scene like when you first get into a company?
It is very different from college, I can tell you that, because in college I think you are in the safe hands of your teachers, but when you get into a company, you are yourself. You need to prove everything so that you get into a better position, or you want to get into a better job. You have to do things on your own. In college, I would say now Adesh sir is handling the placements. You don't have to worry about getting a company, right? You don't have to worry about applying to so many companies because the company is coming to you. But when you get into a job, you have to do things for yourself. It is a little different, but if you enjoy freedom and if you enjoy, I would say, taking matters into your own hands, you love your job as well. And specifically for Infosys has a beautiful training program, and it is like a mixture of a college and a corporate life. And they really make it a good transition for any student who comes from an engineering college. It is different, but it is fun. And waking up is it is one of the negative things about the job, but then that is a part and parcel of it.
Okay. Thank you, Deep.
Welcome.
Yes. Any other question?
Will you please
Yes,
share the
Isha.
link?
Yes. Will you please share the link of the books from Amazon? Yes, I will share the link. I'll send it to Sujata ma'am. She can probably share it with your batch. I'll also share the link to the website I was talking about where I gave the mock exams. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn if you need any further information apart from all this.
Yes, students, any other question? Okay. So I think there is no as such question now. Uh, okay, thank you so much, Ereka, for your motivational and thought-provoking knowledge and words. I'm sure that all the students from SCT and B, they will definitely get some important inputs from the same. Thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully, I just like to share that in future also we need your such kind of guidance for the students. So now onwards, Ritu, please take the vote of thanks and declare the end of session over here.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and it was really fun interacting with you. Like, like a senior, like, yeah, you actually helped us out with a lot of confusion we had. So, thank you so much, and hope to meet you again.
Thank you
And
so much, Ritu.
and for the others, I've shared the attendance link in the chat already. So, okay. Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.
Thanks. Thanks, Ritu. Thanks, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Erika.
It was a pleasure. Thank you all. Thanks. I'm really happy that you loved it. Please connect if you have any more doubts or if you want to know anything more about my work or my studies. I would be very glad to help you out. Bye.
Yes. Dee, just one more thing. Okay.
Yes, Ritu, you have any question?
No, I was just telling that if she could share her LinkedIn.
Okay, I will share that one.
Yeah. Okay.